AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Year. Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty won't run in the Preakness Stakes, ending any chance at a Triple Crown for a 7th straight year. Florida basketball coach Todd Golden agreed to a 6-year, $40.5 million extension.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, the second round in the NBA playoffs roll on, and we'll continue to react to it all. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser.
Hey, shut up, kid. Taylor Sharp.
Every girl crazy about it, shine as me.
You so. And a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes from right now. Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball. He'll be here in 1 hour. We'll talk some baseball postseason projections. Saints rookie running back Devin Neal in hour number 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, a bit of a bummer. LSU and Grambling, by now you know, the final midweek game of this season scheduled here for Tuesday has been canceled. Inclement weather in and around the Baton Rouge area expected to be in Baton Rouge throughout the entire night. So you had to make a call early because Grambling was going to be driving to Baton Rouge from Grambling. So before they drove all the way down here, you had to have a good sense of whether or not you were going to be able to play the game. So ultimately, they made the call because of rain projected all night throughout the Baton Rouge area to go ahead and cancel the game. It will not be made up, of course, because next week there is no midweek game as you get ready for the final week of the regular season, a road series for LSU at South Carolina. Remember, in the final weekend, all series are Thursday, Friday, Saturday to give teams an extra day before the SEC tournament. And we know this year there's a new SEC tournament format where all 16 teams make the field. And the entire tournament is single elimination. Not just those first days and then the weekend, but the entire thing throughout is single elimination. So got to find a way to get as many of those games in as you can while you're dodging raindrops in Hoover. A tradition unlike any other. So speaking of which, it's kind of been a tradition for LSU baseball this season. I know every year, it's just the nature of it in the springtime around here. You're going to have games interrupted by weather. This feels excessive this year. Have you totaled it up, Muse? Have you done a total?
Well, this is what I can give you. All but 4 series this year, 4 weekends have had games moved. In the midweek, I mean, you had the impact with Northwestern State. Obviously, this one with Grambling.
The first one against Nichols.
The first one against Nichols, that was cold and rainy.
It was cold and rainy, yeah.
Cold and rainy. Yeah. But yeah, every weekend series except for 4.
So they played 10 weekends, right?
Yeah.
Already. No, you played 8. You played 11 weekends.
Yeah.
So you played 11 weekends. So 7 of the 11 had been impacted by weather, and now this is the 3rd midweek game impacted by weather.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That feels like a lot.
It does. And honestly, the Oklahoma series could have been. The weather there sucked.
Yeah, it was terrible. Kind of worked out in your favor.
Yeah, it did. But I mean,
I'm a little bummed they're not going to play this one. Listen. When you look from an RPI standpoint, LSU's RPI is 9. Grambling's is 276. Playing the game does you no favors from an RPI perspective. But it also doesn't matter. You have 3 games this weekend against Arkansas, which is 5 in the RPI. So your RPI is going to be fine regardless. The reason you want to play these games is not, I'm not trying to have the midweek games don't matter conversation. Y'all know where I stand on it. It's the opportunity to get out there, number one, for your offense to see live pitching. And number 2, to get mound time for a lot of guys that you're still trying to get work. I mean, Maverick Rizzi was awesome for you in relief in game 1. Love to get him back out there and get loose again. Cooper Williams, same thing. You'd love to get William Schmidt another start. It's a guy who very likely at some point in the postseason you're going to count on to give you key innings. You'd love to get him out there and get more mound time, which is something you can't replicate. Yes, you can go tomorrow and have some intra-squad scrimmage. If guys were going to have a bullpen day, you just move it to live BP or something like that. So there's ways you can work around it, but there's just no replacement for actually getting to play a game with another team and seeing something that's unfamiliar. So that's a bummer that that's going to happen that way. They were hoping that the rain would hold off. It didn't, and now you turn your attention to Arkansas. Jay Johnson was on his coach's show on Monday night, and he did talk, by the way, about Maverick Rizzi, who in his inning and 2/3 of relief in game 1 was awesome. Of the 5 outs, he had 4 strikeouts. The 5 outs he recorded, is that right? Recorded 5 outs, 4 were strikeouts. He was awesome, and you're always going to have guys that step up when you get into the postseason, and maybe Maverick Rizzi is one of those guys.
Very impressive and really good sign for us. You know, we've ran him out there a lot here recently, twice a week, because I do believe he has as high-end potential and upside as anybody on our pitching staff. And I think his best days are ahead of him, you know, being the rest of this season and obviously moving into next year. I think we're starting to really, really see some of that. And I thought, you know, in terms of SEC play, on the road, young pitcher, I think you clearly saw what we're so excited about. And, you know, his role will obviously expand as we're going forward.
Yes, and when you're 6'9" and you throw 98, that's a reason to be excited. But for all of these guys, these young guys with great arm talent, remember the opening weekend, we raved because when they played Purdue-Fort Wayne, they had 8 guys that threw 95 or higher. And so we raved about the depth of the talent on the staff. What sort of started to manifest was the inability at times to throw strikes. So they narrowed down their rotations, as you're seeing, and now you're hoping among that narrowed down rotation, the guys that you're calling on continue to pitch better. That's happened for Maverick Rizzi. It was a disappointing series loss for LSU against Texas A&M, where you had it. I mean, you were 4 outs away from a series win, and you let it get away. Jay Johnson on his coach's show talked a little bit about what his message was to his team after the series loss.
Just the message to the team was eyes up, moving forward. I thought they competed really hard in the game yesterday. You know, we came up 4 outs short against a really good team. You know, it's the third of 4 teams I think we're going to play that's been ranked number 1 in the country at some point. And you only get that in the SEC. So, like I said, great performance on Saturday night, especially from the pitcher's mound. I thought the team competed in the game very well yesterday. Really excited about some guys emerging out of the bullpen. And, you know, we look forward to a good week this week.
If the old adage holds true and you need 7 or 8 guys, we've continued to look at that all year. Who could the 7 or 8 be that you count on in the postseason? And you're going to have your up 10, down 10 guys, right? And there may be situational spots where if you want a lefty like we saw Jay manage on Sunday, you want a situational lefty, you go to Cooper Williams, you'll go to DJ Primo. But if you're looking for guys that you're going to count on to start or extend for you, you want to be in the 7 to 8 guy range. Well, you could start with Anderson Ianson, and after that, it's kind of a question of who's next. Evans and Cowan are the most obvious. So you got 4 there. Do you have 3 or 4 more? Can some combination of Rizzi, Ware, Schmidt, Benj, Primo, Williams, like those guys that you've called Newt? I mean, I just rattled off 7 more names there. Can you find 3 or 4 of those 7 who you can give the ball to and trust are going to go perform for you? That's going to ultimately determine your ability as you move through the postseason, but obviously also your ability to hit the baseball. And that was a big issue. Actually, Muse, can we play 5, please? As much as we talked about the pitching, the offense has been a problem, and Jay Johnson addressed the struggles that they've had and how they're looking to fix it.
we're seeing a level of pitching that isn't normal for any time in college baseball. Now, with that being said, we want to control what we can control, which is, are we working at seeing the ball well to improve our swing decisions? Are we working at seeing the ball well to be on time? Are we staying committed to our plan with less than 2 strikes, with 2 strikes, and then putting in a lot of work? And we're not talking about huge strides for us to just about win almost every game that we play. We're talking about incremental improvement from each guy in the order. And so that's what we go down to. It's, it's one-on-one with Steven Milam or Ethan Fry or Jared Jones. And we're going to keep chipping away at it. And it's not getting any easier, this weekend or in the postseason. So we just got to, pull up your bootstraps and get after it. And that's what we do.
Tigers welcome in Arkansas this weekend to Alec Box Stadium. Of course, as Jay mentioned, at one point was the number 1 team in the country. The one thing, the note that if you're looking for the positive spin for LSU with Arkansas coming in is, well, this is a very impressive team that just swept Texas in Fayetteville. They've lost their last 2 road conference series to Georgia and Florida. And I understand Georgia has been a top 5 team in the country, and Florida is an ascending team right now. But there is something to be said for being a different team at home and on the road. Arkansas is 30-3 at home. They're 7-5 on the road. So, yes, I do think that this is an instance where the series flipping to Baton Rouge does benefit LSU. You're going to have a giant crowd all 3 days, and they should get in line behind your starting pitching. We'll see if the bats can maybe come around, ball fly a little bit out of the box this weekend. So no game tonight with LSU and Grambling. The weather has called it off. I'm disappointed by that because I did want to see him get out there, swing the bats, get some confidence, get some guys some mound time. But they'll move on through it. And they'll play Friday, Saturday, Sunday with Arkansas coming to town. All right, it is After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers. You're going to be watching LSU this weekend, or you're going to be just hanging at the house. Remember, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, available at great local retailers everywhere. And I always love telling you about our friends over at Mockler Beverage, of course, the local Bud distributor. And they've been such a great part of the community for more than 3 decades. This past weekend was emceeing Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, benefiting the Special Forces Charitable Trust. And Mockler was the presenting sponsor of that event because they support our military, they support our community. It's rare that you'll ever go to a church fair or any type of charitable event without seeing the Bud products, the Mockler products out there, because they're great supporters of our communities, as they have been for more than 3 decades. So drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We will talk a little more baseball in about 47 minutes. This is top of hour number 2. Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball will be here. They've got their postseason projections out. So national seeds, regional hosts, all that. Where does LSU slide in? How's the SEC looking now as a 16-team league? We'll talk about all that with Mark in less than an hour from right now. And Saints rookie running back Devin Neal from Kansas. He'll be here straight up 5 o'clock to start hour number 3. So we're glad you're hanging out with us. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger, talk a little Cruton. We'll do that next on AFR.
After Further Review.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Remember, you can always download the Rouse's app. I encourage you to do that. If you're shopping, download the Rouse's app. Select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up in one of the designated spaces, and they'll bring it out to your vehicle. It's at Rouse's. Go to Rouse's.com. You can find the location nearest you at Rouse's.com or in the Rouse's app. And as always, boy, no matter what you're looking for, they got you covered. May is Pet Month. You may not know that. So they've got tons of great items on sale all month long for your pet, from treats and dog and cat food and all different types of things, supplements. You can check it all out at Rouse's all this month at May, with it being Pet Month. So treat your best friend, courtesy of our friends over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Find the location nearest you with 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
As always, shout out to our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Broke ground on their newest location in Baton Rouge on Pico last week. So excited about that. Excited to see the continued growth, and really appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's with us now. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Matt. I made it to Pearl Jam. and I know you did as well.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't holler at your boy, but honestly, amid a sea of about 200,000 people, we probably wouldn't have found each other anyway.
Well, I can say this. I ran into another friend who had run into you or had seen you and described you as with an entourage of people. So didn't even stop and wave at you or anything as an avid listener to your show. So after hearing that, I said, he's fine. He doesn't need me.
Well,
he'll be just fine out here.
We did have a herd. It was one of those where everybody was going to see Pearl Jam, and so we all somehow managed to make it happen together. And so, yeah, a lot of people went down. It was a good time, man. First of all, what did you think? Give me your assessment as a big Pearl Jam fan.
Well, I was playing with house money off start because I think they opened with Corduroy. So as one of my top Pearl Jam songs, I was easy going from then on out. I had also seen them over the summer by themselves.
Right.
So we were kind of in the back, and people were like, hey, we can't hear as well as maybe you'd think. But I enjoyed it. I also found it fascinating. They were one of the final shows, and anyone who's been to Jazz Fest knows they clear you out pretty quickly. But as you said, it was a horde of people. It was a horde of people everywhere. But probably like 5 songs into Pearl Jam, half the people that were in our area had packed up and were already kind of trying to hit the gates and beat traffic or whatever it might be. So midway through Pearl Jam, it was wide open for us. It was almost as if nobody had been sitting there. So that got an A in my book. People leaving early, A+ in my book. Suffice
to say, Shea, where I was, ain't nobody left early, dog. We were sardined about 30 feet from the stage, front left. I'm sorry, not 30 feet. I was about 30 yards front left. But I had a great view, great set list. Thought it was awesome, man. Had a great time all the way around. Okay. Also over the weekend, LSU landed A.J. Halsey out of Houston. I think we had all anticipated this. How did it all come together, Shea?
And he waited till after Pearl Jam to do it, so he did it the next day, which was very kind.
Very thoughtful, very considerate of Mr. Halsey.
Yeah, we had talked a week ago. Look, we talk every Tuesday. I guess last week was a Tuesday when we talked. And on Monday, he had made that visit to Miami. We're talking about a kid out of Houston that was all Big 12, played at Houston, but is from Texas, all Big 12 player. Has got a year left, had contemplated going to the draft, decided he'd go to the portal. And he was coming off a Miami visit where Rick Ross was with him, and they had rolled out the red carpet. He is or was the most coveted safety still out there, and he had not made a visit or even set one to LSU at that point. And it almost felt like, okay, they're really playing from behind the 8 ball here, and perhaps they were. But in the end, he lands at LSU, and from everything I've gathered, and you talked about this, but, in the NIL era, especially, or specifically with the kid who's got 8 months left and is a very notable, in terms of accolades, what he's accomplished, playing time, all of that, is going to be a guy who gets NIL brought up where LSU got to a comfortable spot with him, or I should say his agents. These college kids have agents now. That's well known. And they were able to get it done. And look, that was fresh off of getting Bernard Gooden. And you and I and anyone who listens to your show and is, somewhat more than a casual observer of LSU football could have said, I watched the games last year. I can look on paper what they have. And man, if there was anything that could make this icing on the cake and make this team a little bit better, it'd probably be some more experience at these 2 positions, D tackle and safety. And what do you know, after kind of winning the first portal window in December, they get to the second smaller window, and they lose one guy who was, had not even played it down yet. He was an incoming freshman. And they then add 2 guys who were at the 2 positions. You just so happen to say, boy, they could use just a little help there, and then you feel really good about things.
When you look at what happened this year in the portal, Shea, that's 18 additions, and they're right there, right? I mean, a lot of the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but 18 additions, 23 players that have left. How do you sort of assess that in this whole portal cycle?
I think that the assessment of the departures can obviously be viewed. Are they searching for playing time they would not have found here? first and foremost. And yes, would you love to keep every kid and develop them that you feel good about? Sure. I don't think that LSU, when compared to many other teams, out there, and certainly some of the upper echelon teams, lost players to the portal that they did not want to lose. And LSU didn't have that. And that also goes for the NFL draft. Look, Garrett Nussmeier is coming back. They got Harold Perkins back. I know he had to juggle the entire injury thing, but there's also guys who, don't let it fool you, could have been these agents get calls from everybody, and they could enter the portal, and you're thinking, well, you would have started next year. Why'd you hit the portal? Well, this team was offering me a bigger role and more money, whatever it might be. There was none of that. So I think departure-wise, by and large, more than 80-90%, correct me if you feel differently, are guys who just wanted to go and play elsewhere. And then I think on the contrary, unlike a year ago when they added a much smaller number and still didn't have a huge hit rate on, instant impact guys, this time they get 18 guys. I can point to double-digit of them and say, that guy will start or will play a pretty big role on the team. And on paper, that's just what it is. I kind of joked with Maddie B about it on our podcast. I'm not trying to say this is like that off-season Matt where it's like, where I just said, oh, well, they didn't lose really anybody that's going to hurt them, and they only gained all these guys that are going to help them. It sounds like the old, reports out of the weight room are everybody's, maxed out on the bench now. Nobody dropped a ball in spring practice. Everybody looks as good as they ever have. I just mean purely on paper, what they did in the first two windows, coupled with retention of the roster, I didn't see any missteps, and it's been well documented and talked about, and you've done a good job covering it, and everybody in the local media has, of this kind of push they put into NIL, organizing, things beyond the field, and then being able to go out and execute coming off of this season where in the win and loss, chart, you took a step backwards.
Shea, do I wish they had retained Ricky Collins? Yes. But Michael Van Buren started 9 games. Do I wish they had retained Shelton Sampson? Yes. High ceiling. But Nick Anderson, Berrien Brown, Destino, they're all more accomplished players right now. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, they yes, there's guys you would have liked to have retained, but the guys you added are undeniably more experienced, more accomplished than who you lost. I mean, there's just no discussion to the contrary of that. But what I do, yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a lot of one-to-one examples I think you use that you're spot on with. And this isn't knocking players. This is just the era you're in. C.J. Daniels started for you last year at Liberty, and he left and went to Miami. And it was, okay, you lose C.J. Daniels, but you get Berrien Brown, a guy from Kentucky who has no injury history. He's played 3 years in the SEC. He was a top 100 kid coming out of high school. He's got tied for the SEC lead in all-time return touchdowns. I think he has 5 or 6, but that would be an upgrade. So, if you're doing the one-for-one thing, I think they came out a lot more on the positive side and far more than the negative. And yes, that's going to happen when some guys are just leaving for more playing time, but also guys like that, guys you mentioned who did play and did start and left. They got in guys who did the exact same at other schools, but also did it to a higher degree.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, is with us. One of the things that I think is questionable, though, Shea, I'm curious your thoughts on this, is the overall strategy, considering Brian Kelly, from the time he showed up, said they wanted to build through the high school ranks and develop and then supplement with the portal. And we've talked about it, Shea. They went from 15 to 13 to 9, each of Kelly's first 3 years transfers in. Well, then this year you see this big boom to 18. Well, you didn't do that because you had to supplement the roster, like whenever he took over a situation with a barren roster where you needed numbers. This was intentional. So do you think we're seeing a fundamental shift in the way LSU is choosing to build their roster in this era?
No, I don't. I think we're overlooking in that specific to exactly what you're talking about. There could be oversight in truly where the roster was at when they took over. Did they improve it over time? Yes, but it's still turning over every year. So did you want to ride into this year developing E.J. Woodland, Ashton Stamps, Deshaun Spears, all of these guys in the secondary who are your promising younger guys, Michael Turner. I mean, you could continue to name them. Or did you also want to develop them, but say, hey, look, we've got Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. We've got all these other pieces in place. If we have the ability to go out there and make the roster better with many guys who are 1 year left, 2 years left, whatever it might be, and we can retain those other guys and develop them, then we're not continuing to take these lumps that come with, hey, look, we want to be heavy in high school and development and supplement portal. I do think he probably wants to be in that, let's add around 8 to 10 portal guys a year. But for me, I think, and anybody who looks at the roster, when you've got Nuss and a healthy Perkins and Weeks and your Aaron Anderson and these guys are in their final years, and you've got some pieces here and there on the defensive line that are getting kind of into the prime of their careers. Don McKinley's, Dave Relaford's, where they really get their shot. Do you go out there and grab maybe boost up a little bit more on each side than you normally would? I think the answer is yes. Look, probably we can answer it by, hey, how much did he think the team should be better? They took a portal punter last year and went out and just took one this year again to replace that one who didn't play as much because he split 50-50 time with the other punter on roster. So I think it just became one of those things when they, like I said, win-loss, you take a step back. How can we still develop, not lose a ton of guys that we want to retain and develop, but also make us better to capitalize on this next year where you saw it with Tennessee. You can go 10-2, not make the SEC title, and go to the playoffs. If the playoffs are the goal, and this is your most talented roster, then wins should be within reach. So I think this is probably a culmination of all of that. I think we see that number come down a good bit if they're continuing to be able to retain at the rate they have.
Okay. Hey, before you go, give us a thought, if you would, on where LSU currently sits with the 2026 class and with the calendar, what's ahead here as we move through May.
Yeah, all the coaches are on the road right now, so you're starting to see some offers go out to younger guys, but really they're getting a feel for the 2026 class, finalizing the board ahead of what'll be summer official visits. So they've jockeyed at 1 and 2 in the rankings with Southern Cal. LSU's got a really good class already with double-digit guys, a number of number one guys at their position. And what I love most is it's rooted in Louisiana. It's rooted in border state guys. Your 5-star is a South Mississippi kid and wide receiver Tristan Keys. So it's not like you're spread all over the map where kind of you risk a lot of these guys saying, hey, I'm staying closer to home or whatever it might be. So coaches on the road, then we'll get into that wave of camp season, official visits, and by the time the dead period hits in July, Matt, which is only 2 months away, I mean, they'll have built more than half this class, given that they're already in the double digits.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, with us every Tuesday. Make sure you get him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.
All right, man. We'll talk next week. Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well over at Relief Windows, and they do it better than anyone. We talk about windows, and, of course, those doors as well. They come in a composite material that comes finished in whatever color you want. So you're not painting. They're not going to chip, crack, peel. Comes finished in your favorite color, so you're done forever. Do it once. You're done forever. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters as well over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll go around the SEC. When we come back, about 30 minutes from right now, Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball is going to jump aboard with us. Also, next hour, ran across something interesting today. It was a reason for optimism for all 32 NFL teams. And if you've listened to this show over the last 12 to 18 months, I ain't said a lot of nice things. I'm going to say something nice about the Saints next hour. You will not want to miss. How about that, huh? How about a new leaf is what I'm turning
it over, yeah.
Bringing in some positivity today.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Allegedly. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Hey, y'all. Mother's Day's on Sunday. You can go get mom roses, and they're going to die in a week. Or you can go to Clegg's and buy mom rose bushes to plant in front or back. that will produce beautiful, bursting blooms for years to come that she can enjoy. Not sure what to get her? Cool. Go to Clegg's, get Mama Clegg's gift card. Let her choose what she wants. Maybe it's not flowers. Maybe it's any of the outdoor decor, like the tuned wind chimes, which are an amazing accent piece to any outdoor space. If you've never seen them, you got to go check them out. They got them at Clegg's Nursery. Siga near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, they've been serving Baton Rouge for more than 60 years. So get in your garden and just plant something and take care of Mom with this Mother's Day at Clegg's Nursery.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes.
A heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners. Because of your generosity during the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon presented by the Baton Rouge Clinic, we raised an incredible $15,000 to help grant dreams for local kids facing life-threatening illnesses. A special shout-out to Lewis Mechanical, Action Industries, Patient Plus, Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevy, Luba, Duplessis Pool Builders, and our title sponsor, the Baton Rouge Clinic, for making this all possible. From all of us at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, thank you for helping make so many dreams come true.
Average dream costs about $5,000. So for 3 children in Louisiana facing life-threatening or terminal illness, they'll get their dream granted thanks to Dreams Come True of Louisiana and all of you. So thanks sincerely to everyone who opened their wallets or hearts and contributed to our Dreams Come True of Louisiana Radiothon. It is After Further Review. We are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We're glad to have you aboard with us. Go around the SEC in just a quick second. Late last week, we opened up a poll question surrounding Zion Williamson because the trade rumors had kind of started to percolate a little bit as to whether or not the Pelicans might be entertaining trading Zion. A new executive vice president for basketball operations, Joe Dumars, was asked about in his introductory press conference because there was a piece out there from Shamit Dua who said that the directive was clear, that ownership was hiring Joe Dumars to trade Zion. I'm paraphrasing. But anyway, Joe Dumars deflected that, and I used it as an open door just to kind of get a finger on the pulse of where you all felt, if you felt the Pelicans should trade Zion Williamson. In the early returns, I think it was like 60-40 trade him. That was very, very early. Where did we land, Muse?
Not much differently from there. 64.6% says trade him. 35% says keep him.
I just don't know what you think you're going to get. Like, when I hear the trade him and get picks, you realize this is the NBA draft? Like, picks don't mean squat in the NBA draft. Like, you have a very select number of lottery players that are deemed elite talents. And the rest of the draft, you're looking for bench depth, rotational guys. Like, your best path forward is finding a way to get Zion Williamson bought in physically. Like, and you can say the onus is on him, and I don't disagree with you. He's a grown man making a lot of money. But organizationally, maybe it's putting the right people around him to explain to him why this is so important, to maximize his physical ability. I just don't know how you think trading Zion makes you better, because you're just not going to get assets that match his upside. Not what he's done so far, because effectively in his career so far, he's basically missed half of his career. He's basically played at 45% of the games since he was drafted. So he's missed just over half of his career. So how do you get him healthy to be able to play a full season for you and see what that looks like? He's still a young man. This guy's still in his early 20s. So I'm going to push back against the trade Zion. Like, I'm not okay with that. I mean, you traded AD. How did that work out? You traded Chris Paul. I mean, yes, that ended up landing you Anthony Davis. And if you could tell me and guarantee me that trading Zion would land you Cooper Flagg, I might entertain it more. But that ain't what this is. So could you get lucky and land a future Hall of Famer like Manu Ginobili or Draymond Green in round 2? Yeah, you could. Is it likely? No. it's unlikely you'll ever get a player like Zion again. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. You can give me 6 players, draft picks, whatever. All of that collectively is not going to equal him at his best. So I say the onus is on the organization to find a way to keep him healthy and to maximize him, because that's when you'll be at your best. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Book your reservations, y'all. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. If you need plans for mom for Mother's Day, treat her to Supper Club. Know what a treat it is. Even if mom doesn't love steak, no worries. They've got great fish items, chicken. The lamb chops are divine. Of course, I tell you all the time, one of my favorite menu items over there is the veal parmesan. They bring the veal cutlet on the bone out to the plate, breaded, fried, and they have the skillet with the cheese and the marinara that they lay over that cutlet table side. The presentation is so much, because at Supper Club, yes, the food is otherworldly, as I've talked about all the time. Literally steak options that you can get at 2 restaurants in the United States of America. But the experience of being at Supper Club is unmatched. SupperClubBTR.com. Book your reservation today. SupperClubBTR.com for Supper Club. All right, it's After Further Review. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Win a natty, get a new contract. Todd Golden, who might just be a creepy felon, won a basketball championship, and so he's got a contract extension through Florida, at Florida through the 2030-2031 season. Comes with a significant buyout in the 8 figures. Yeesh. Anyway, the new deal totals $40.5 million over 6 years.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Jared Curtis, 5-star quarterback out of Nashville, has committed to Georgia, 6'3", 225. He had previously been committed to Georgia, backed off of that commitment during the fall, now is recommitted to the Bulldogs. His other finalist was Oregon. He's a 3-year starter at Tennessee, at Nashville Christian there in Nashville, Tennessee. He's the number 6 overall prospect, the number 1 quarterback for 2026.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma has added quarterback depth with Mercer portal quarterback Whit Neubauer. Neubauer entered the portal as a true sophomore, so he has 3 seasons of eligibility remaining there with the Sooners. Played 9 games for Mercer as a true freshman with 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has added OSU, that's Oklahoma State freshman, Ma'aliaku Smith via the transfer portal as well. 6'4", 185 from Sacramento. Played at Oklahoma State, now is headed to Ole Miss. Played in 4 games last season. Actually started the final 2 games against Texas Tech and Colorado. Former 3-star recruit, the number 32 overall quarterback in the 2024 cycle when he signed with Oklahoma State, now headed to Ole Miss.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And SMU wide receiver transfer Ashton Cozart has committed to Kentucky. He's a former 4-star recruit. Started his career at Oregon, didn't appear in a game. So then he transferred to SMU for 2024, caught just 1 pass. Now he's headed to Kentucky. He was the number 30 wide receiver in the country coming out of high school. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. 15 minutes from right now, we'll welcome on Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball. Talk a little bit about postseason projections. How many SEC teams will get regional host sites? How many SEC teams will get a national seed? What do the Tigers have to do to lock up a top 8? We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. When we come back, one of the weirdest scheduling quirks we may ever see in college football, we'll discuss on AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Action Industries and the Advanced Turnaround Group. Of course, Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. No baseball game tonight, but when you do watch LSU baseball, every mound visit sponsored by Action Industries. And when we tell you about Action Industries, remember, their turnaround arm is the Advanced Turnaround Group. So it's one company, but they have a separate division, the Advanced Turnaround Group, which is their turnaround arm of the company. So same great people that own it, but a completely different set of resources for the Advanced Turnaround Group. Experts in completing your turnaround safely and efficiently. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group. So we're in turnaround season really through October. So if you need someone to bid your next turnaround, remember the advanced turnaround group over at Action Industries, 24/7 emergency availability. Also, specialty welding is available. It's the advanced turnaround group over at Action Industries.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always
Did Ott Celtics -9 hit?
No, it didn't.
The Otter was down and out yesterday. He did manage to give us Celtics -9. Looked good for a good bit. And boy, they just kept shooting threes and kept missing. I was telling Muse and Taylor, I was sitting on my outdoor kitchen last night watching that game. Might have had a glass of wine and a cigar, and watched Boston just keep shooting threes.
I saw the highlight on SportsCenter later that night because I didn't watch the game live, and I was just like, oh, wow.
I mean, at some point, you would think they would abandon it. At some point.
The halftime show was like, I want to go back and find it in hindsight, because listening to Chuck talk about how the series is over, this is what you're going to see. Like, they can't the Knicks can't compete. They don't have size. So, just the whole thing. And I'm going, man, run that back at this point.
At freezing cold takes. Or what is it? At old takes exposed. Whatever.
Takes exposed,
at old takes exposed.
Anyway. Muse didn't watch it because Muse doesn't like the NBA playoffs until it's the finals, he told us, right? That's it?
I mean, I said I'll watch the finals. I didn't really necessarily say I don't like the NBA playoffs. I don't know. I don't remember what I did last night, Matt. I went home, ate dinner, and other than that,
You said you were going to watch some World War II show or something.
No, I did that the other night.
Oh.
It was actually really good.
Well, if Notre Dame and Clemson were on, maybe you'd have watched that.
Probably would have, yeah, because I love college football.
Well, that's going to happen pretty regularly now. Notre Dame and Clemson have agreed on a 12-year series. Ross Dellinger broke this news earlier today on Twitter and over at Yahoo. 12-year annual football scheduling. The series works independently of the ACC structure, but counts as one of Notre Dame's 5 ACC games. So let me get this straight. So the series works independently of the ACC structure, where the ACC assigns Notre Dame 5 games a year. But it counts as one of those 5. So basically what happened is Notre Dame and Clemson went together and said, hey, before you put together the ACC schedule, for a dozen years, we're playing each other every year, just so you know. Do whatever you want, but start there and build the rest of the thing around that, because that's what we're doing, whether you like it or not. I mean, can you imagine? And by the way, the reason they're doing this, so the ACC's revenue sharing model, what they're doing is the ACC will take 60% of the revenue from the media deal with ESPN and will distribute it to the schools proportionally based on viewership figures. So whichever teams generate the most viewership are going to get the most revenue share, right? So naturally, Clemson and Notre Dame are like, hey, I got an idea. You meet me, huh? You meet me, you, huh? 12 years, let's do it. Like, can you imagine? Like, let me put it to you this way. Can you imagine if this would be like if Alabama and Tennessee decided we're doing a scheduling thing. We're putting on our schedule every year for 12 years. And then you told the SEC, hey, we're playing every year. You do whatever you want with your schedule, but we're playing every year no matter what. So figure it out, whatever you do after that. But this is already locked in. Oh, wait, that's what they do already. Never mind. Sorry, that is how this works. Yeah. So, yeah, it's exactly how it works, as a matter of fact, yeah. On the same date in October every year, the same weekend in October every year, too. So, I get it. I get why they want to do it. It's just further illustration of how the haves and the have-nots are so diametrically opposed, and how we are inevitably, like every story like this, we are just further heading and just barreling toward a complete separation of college football from the rest of college athletics and college, and within college football, the haves and the have-nots. when Clemson and Notre Dame just say, we don't care what you're going to schedule, we're playing each other for a dozen years straight. Everyone else in the league, be damned, figure it out. It just shows no one is in it for the totality of the league. Everyone is in it for self-preservation, no matter how it has to go. And when that's the case, a separation is the only inevitable end. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com with locations all over South Louisiana. Hey, remember, now through May 16th, Shaw Bills has an awesome deal on all new all new installations. You can get a $118 value on all new tires. It's free installation on all tires now through May 16th. So buy tires at Shaw Bills. They'll give you free installation. It's a $118 value when you use your Shaw Bills credit card. Learn more online at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com with locations all over South Louisiana. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it is after further review. Putting a button here on hour number 1. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, we'll talk a little college baseball postseason projections with Mark Etheridge of D1 Baseball.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, Mother's Day is on Sunday. You gotten a gift for mom yet? I got an idea. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. Listen, there's 9 locations in all. 2 in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard in Bocage, Mall of Louisiana. They've also got New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. But listen, if you go to the website at LMFJ.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see the Mother's Day gifts from David Yurman. You can click on that and you could see dozens of exquisite gifts from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, no matter your budget. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. Beautiful necklaces and bracelets and pendants and rings and watches. So many amazing options. Sure to thrill mom this Mother's Day. If it's your mom or the mother of your children, make sure you thrill her with a gift in the red box this Mother's Day from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Check them out online at LMFJ.com.